G'day guys, Brock Layden here, and what I wanted to discuss in this week's video is tracking your time. What we're going to cover in the video is why I've started tracking my time. We're going to go through how I've started tracking my time. We'll go through what I've learn't so far and finish up with a call to action, what you can do, right? If you want to take some of this on board for yourself, we'll discuss what you can do, right? So, tracking your time. Why have I started doing it myself? Why have I started tracking my time? So, book that I'm reading at the moment is by Peter Drucker. It's called The Effective Executive. It's written in 1966. And I'm not going to claim to know a whole lot about Peter Drucker, other than, the one thing I can say is that I've heard his name a lot. I got onto the book because Tim Ferriss, for anyone who listens to Tim Ferriss, so Tim Ferriss recommended it as one of his top 3 or top 5 books of all time. And I think Tim Ferriss is quite a productive and smart guy, so I took that on face value and thought I'd pick up the book. Anyway, the book essentially goes through what Peter Drucker describes as the effective executives. Like, what are the traits, what are the habits of an effective executive? And executive doesn't mean somebody who is a chief executive or C-suite. It's kind of anyone who's, a knowledge worker, and you've got, just think of it, just if you're a knowledge worker, you got an office job or whatever, you can be an effective executive. Now, one of the first chapters in the book is all about tracking your time and the importance of tracking your time. Or not even just tracking it, but just the importance of time, right? Now, when we are doing our work, there are various resources that we have available to us that we, can utilize to produce an outcome, right? So you've got depending on what you're doing, you might use money, right? You might use publicity or social media reach or whatever it is. We have all these resources, right? Time is also a resource. Now, the one thing that's different about time compared to every other resource is that you can't get more of it, right? If you rely on money for your business, if you rely on, again, like social media reach, whatever it is, you can always get more of that, right? Might be hard, but it's possible to get more of it. With time, you literally can't get any more of it, right? You get 24 hours in a day, that's it. You get 7 days in a week, that's it. You get, 52 weeks in a year, yada, yada, yada. So Peter Drucker essentially makes the point that it's your most valuable resource because you can't get any more of it, and every second that goes is another second that you don't have. And so you want to manage it like it's your most effective resource. Some people are very good at managing money, right? They care about money a lot, and they budget every dollar and all that sort of thing, so they know where it all goes. But nearly none of us know where our time goes. And we might think we know where our time goes, right? And it's one of the key points that Peter Drucker makes, that the way that we think we spend our time does not equal the way we actually spend our time. And it's an important point. I'm going to highlight it because it's the crux of all of this, right? We all think, if you ask a human, any person to estimate, how many hours per week they spend on various things, they could pluck out all these numbers. And when you go and actually, if you were to watch that person and actually monitor, how many hours they spend on those activities, you would find it would almost always be very different to what they predicted. And why is that? Because we like to think that we spend our time better than we actually do, right? So we're going to overestimate the amount of time that we spend on, let's say, good activities, for lack of a better term, productive activities, and we're going to underestimate how much time we spend on unproductive activities. And when you have this incorrect perception of how you spend your time, what does it mean? Well, it means that you're not going to be doing anything about it. You're not going to be improving it, right? And again, if I come back to the importance of time, you can't get more of it, right? And we would be wise to optimize how we use our time. So, that's why I've been tracking my time. Basically, I've been doing this for 1 week, and I wanted to see for myself, what do I actually do in a week, and compare that against my expectations of what I think I do in a week. So, how have I been tracking my time? pretty simple, really, not rocket science. I just created an Excel tracker, right? I've got, time on the vertical axis, and I literally just track it in 30-minute blocks, right? So I've got from like 7 a.m. through to 7 p.m. or something like that, just down a vertical column. Not that I work 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., right? It's just to cater for whatever scenario, if I happen to be working early or late on a given day. And then I've got days of the week on the horizontal axis. So I go Saturday through to Monday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Again, I don't usually work on a weekend, but just if I happen to, I wanted to be able to track that time. And I break each day into 2 columns. And I've done this before years ago, and the way that I did it was I just had 1 column for each day, and I would track the what. So like, so which project, which activity, which, I don't know, initiative, whatever you want to say, right? So 1 column is tracking, all right, am I working on this half hour? Did I spend it on project A, or was it project B, or was it on, whatever else, right? That's the what. What I've done this time is I also have a separate column for the how. And what am I capturing here? This is, all right, so I might have worked on project A, but did I do that in a way where I was doing it through deep work? So like uninterrupted, focused work? Because that's very, spending an hour working on project A in deep work, so uninterrupted, focused, is very different to spending an hour on the same project, but doing shallow work, as I creatively named it. I got the concept of deep work from Cal Newport's book, Deep Work. Highly recommend it. But at a high level, you can understand the difference, right? Deep work is you're really focused, you're into it, no distractions, not even notifications going off. Like I put myself on Do Not Disturb, no emails, nothing. Shallow work is when you're getting pings and you're scattered. Even if you don't feel scattered, just seeing a notification pop up is enough to kind of divert some of your brain's mental capacity away from the task at hand. So am I doing it through deep work? Am I doing it through shallow work? I track as well whether it's a meeting. So I might have spent 30 minutes on project A, but that time was actually in a meeting. I want to be able to track that. Also tracked what I call people development. I'm not wedded to that term at the moment, but this tracks whether, let's say there's a task on project A, and this task, I could probably get it done in 15 minutes. But the other option would be I spend, let's say, 30 to 45 minutes showing somebody else more junior in the team how to do that task. And I wanted to track that because while it's not the most efficient use of my time here and now, I could get the task done quicker myself, but I as a leader want to be the type of leader who's making the investment up front to spend, double or 3 times that amount of time to show somebody else how to do it, so that they can grow their capabilities, they can grow their skill set, they can learn, they can take on more responsibility, and ultimately down the line, it's going to have a positive ROI for me as a leader as well, right? Because then in future, I won't even have to spend the 15 minutes doing that task, right? Somebody else will just be able to take care of it because they have grown and they now know how to do that. So I wanted to be able to track that as well. There might have been other things that I was tracking as well. Like I said, I've only been doing this for a week, right? So I am evolving this, and the method isn't the important part. And that's why I'm not going to share like the template that I've created for myself or link one in particular, because the method isn't important. All that's important is that you can walk away at the end of the week and understand how you spent your time that week. That's the important part. So I've done this for a week. So at the end of the week, so today's Sunday, on Friday, at the end of the day, I look back at the spreadsheet. Oh, and I should also mention that I just, I just update it throughout the day. So it's not like every single half hour I'm, updating the spreadsheet, but just like kind of whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll update the spreadsheet now. And it's not perfect, obviously, like, 30-minute blocks, not everything fits cleanly in 30-minute blocks. But the idea isn't to get this perfect, it's to just get an idea, right? It's the difference between, I read something in my notebook just before that I wrote a few weeks ago. Can't remember where I heard it, but I wrote it down. The difference between being absolutely correct versus directionally correct. Like, you don't have to be absolutely correct all the time for something like this. As long as you're in the right direction and you kind of got a feel for how you're spending your time, that's the point of the exercise, right? So I've been doing this for a week now. What have I learned so far? First of all, I will do it for a few more weeks. Now, I guess, first of all, why will I do it again, and why will I not do it forever? So I will do it again because it's been valuable, right? That's the easy answer. That's the simple answer, I should say. I won't do it forever because I think just the law of diminishing returns, I can see how it would be valuable to record your time every week and monitor how you're spending it. I can see how that would be valuable. I can also see how it would get less valuable over time, and you can probably get 80% of the value by doing it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and that's probably going to teach you a lot. And then maybe in 6 months' time, you do it again for 2 or 3 weeks to see, just kind of check in with yourself, right? There's a fine line between, this is a slight tangent here, but thinking about the work does not equal doing the work. And I heard this from, I think his name's Chris Williamson online, and I like it. You don't want to get caught, it's like the trap of self-help personal development, that you spend more time thinking about stuff than actually doing anything. And I think everybody kind of knows, I think of this like a spectrum, so thinking about work versus doing the work, and neither extreme is beneficial. If you're just only thinking about the work, you're always reading self-help personal development, you're always listening to podcasts about ways to be more productive, you're always watching videos like this, but then you're not actually doing anything with that, then you are on the left side of the spectrum here, right? You're taking this all in, but it's an elaborate form of procrastination, right? You've probably rationalized it in your own mind as productive, but it's not really, right? On the other end of the extreme, the right-hand side here, you've got like, you are only ever doing the work. You are always stuck in the weeds. You're always hustle, bustle, go, go, go. And you're never actually thinking about whether the way that you're doing things is the most effective way or not. And that's also not an ideal scenario, right? There's a balancing act here where you are doing the work and then you're also thinking about the way that you're doing the work. And you would know instinctively which side of that spectrum you default to. I know that I default to this side of the spectrum. My default nature is probably I love reading about ways to get more done and ways to be a better leader and all that sort of thing. So I focus on making sure I'm actually doing the work as well. And you might be the same. You might be in the opposite end. You might just work and you never really think about whether the way that you're doing things is a better way, or you don't really seek out that extra knowledge and education about how you could improve the way that you do things, right? So that's a slight tangent, but it just came to my mind then. I think it's a useful tangent. So back to what I've learned so far. So I'll do it for a few more weeks. Like I said, not forever, but I'll do it for a few more weeks. Lack of deep work. So I talk a lot about deep work. I can't remember, I've probably spoken about it on this channel in the 8-week consulting challenge that I created, that email course. One of the weeks is dedicated to the concept of deep work. And again, it's uninterrupted, prolonged periods of time. I don't count something as deep work unless it's at least an hour, because that's how long it probably takes to get the benefit out of it. And reason deep work is important to me is because you just get a lot more done, and you get it done to a high quality, and that's not the purpose of this video, to go down that rabbit hole, but I'll leave it at that for now. So I don't do anywhere near as much deep work as I thought I did. And I mean, this is exactly what Peter Drucker was talking about up here when he said, this highlighted a bit, that the way that we think we spend our time does not equal the way that we actually spend our time. Here I am talking about deep work and why it's important and all that sort of thing, and I think I do lots of deep work, but when I actually track my time across the week, I realize I actually don't do anywhere near as much of it as what I thought I did. And I don't have the spreadsheet open. It's on my work laptop. I can't remember what the actual hours were that I spent on it. I think it was probably like 2 hours of deep work or something like that, right? Maybe it was 3, I can't remember. Which is nowhere near what I want to be doing. I want to be doing at least a 1 hour block of deep work every single day. So at the minimum, 5 hours. And that's at an absolute minimum. You know, when you're at the office, it's hard to do deep work because people interrupt you and all that sort of thing. But on those days when I'm working from home, I can absolutely be putting myself on Do Not Disturb more than I am. Obviously, you can't go the whole day on Do Not Disturb, but more than I am. Try and get 2 or 3 hours of deep work done. And anyway, like I said, not the point of this video, but so lack of deep work. And the other thing was I'm actually okay with meetings. So meetings are kind of talked about as, and you know, rightly so, they have the potential to just like suck all the time out of your day so that you have no time left to actually do any work. And that's very real. And especially depending on what your role is, you know, it can be more real for some than others. When I looked at how much time I was spending in meetings throughout the week, it was surprisingly low. Again, I can't remember the number, but I looked at it and I went, I'm actually okay with that. That seems like a reasonable number of hours that I'm spending in meetings each week. So, which says to me that, because I've been reading a lot of books about, you know, productivity and all that sort of stuff. So I have been working hard to reduce the number of meetings that I create and the number of meetings that I attend as well, just through simple things like, sounds dumb, but just like sometimes people will invite you to a meeting and it's not because they need you there. It's because they don't want to risk offending you or being rude. And sometimes when you ask people if they actually need you at a meeting, they'll say, no, it's just if you want to come. And you'd be amazed how many meetings you can get out of just by asking that question. Again, you shouldn't just get out of a meeting for the sake of it, only if you think there is not going to be value in it for you, right? I think that should hopefully go without saying. But anyway, so I learned that with all of that, I'm probably at a good spot with the number of meetings that I go to at the moment. And if I cut any more, I'll probably be cutting stuff that is actually important for me to attend. So kind of one negative, a lack of deep work, and one positive. I think I'm doing pretty well in terms of the number of meetings that I attend throughout a week. So that's what I've learned after 1 week. So what will I be doing this week? I will be time blocking, right? So what will I do? I'm going to block out more time for deep work this week. So like I said, today's Sunday, tomorrow, Monday, and every day, I'm going to try and block out at least an hour. And I know I'm working from home tomorrow, so I will probably try to block out 2 or 3 hours, like literally in my calendar. And reflect on that at the end of this coming week and compare the 2 numbers from week 1 to week 2, see how much better I got with deep work, whether I feel like I had a more productive week as a result of that. And I'll also just keep on top of meetings this week, right? Like I said, I think I'm doing okay with that at the moment. So I'm not going to take a specific action or make a specific intention other than to try and keep doing what I'm doing there. I think if I can do this, I'm going to be able to achieve a lot more this week than what I did last week. So that's kind of my spiel around tracking your time. Call to action, you know, what you can do if you're watching this and kind of, you know, think it's interesting and you want to, you know, whatever, just try it for yourself, right? So have a guess at how you spend your time each week. And again, because back to Peter Drucker's original point, the way that you think you spend your time is not the same way that you actually spend it. So if you want to see that for yourself, have a guess at how you spend your time each week and then measure it. Create an Excel. I'm sure there's templates you can find online. Like I said, for me, it's literally a table in Excel. It's got time down the vertical axis, days of the week horizontally, and then I split each day into 2 columns. You don't have to do that. You could probably learn a lot just by tracking which projects you spend your time on and that sort of thing, especially if you're working on multiple projects or internal initiatives, whatever it is. And you will be able to see how you are currently spending your time. And again, that's going to show you where your assumptions and where your guess was wrong. But it's going to give you valuable feedback about what you can do going forward. You know, I've got an action this week. I'm going to block out more time for deep work. I've only got that action because I tracked my time last week. If I hadn't have done that, I would have gone through and probably repeated the same pattern this week. But now I'm hopefully going to have a better week because of it. So give it a crack. Shoot a comment, you know, underneath. Let me know what you think. If you really want a template, you know, let me know. But like I say, I think you're probably smart enough to figure it out for yourself. So cheers, guys. Have a good week.